welcome to Angry Neighbor Garage. This is the first video that we've put together. The whole idea is to share some of the projects that we're working on that you guys might find fun and or interesting. I'm not a real mechanic, just a guy who works a 9-to-5 office job and likes to play with old cars on the weekends. Hopefully there's some people out there who enjoy the same stuff and will think some of what we share is kind of cool or fun. If so, great, follow the channel and see what else we'll do. If not, that's all right too. This could definitely be too basic or low end for some of you. Today's project is on my 1968 Buick Skylark convertible. It's a 350 two-barrel car with a 2-speed automatic. I've had it for about 15 years, and it's been almost all original up until the last year. Earlier this summer, I put a 4-barrel intake and carb on, but now I've got a huge exhaust leak, so that's what we're going to be working on today. The plan was just to replace an exhaust manifold gasket, but guess what? You know what's coming. 2 out of the first 4 bolts broke off, and here we are. So let's get into it. We begin the disassembly, starting with the power steering pump. Don't forget to label all the bolts. Future you will thank you. Also need to take this off. And next goes the alternator. Before we can go any further, we're going to need to drain the coolant, so let's jack the car up so we can get underneath. Because it's probably going to burn me. And now that we've got the coolant out, we can move on to taking off the intake. And off comes the carburetor. And next, we'll continue taking off intake manifold bolts one at a time.
Now there's one that I can't get. Little video.
Now, one thing that was kind of a pain with the Buick 350 is the heater hose fitting is right in the way of one of the intake bolts, so you might need to play around a little bit to find the right socket to get it out.
Get a picture of me blowing all the junk off. Well, here's a little sneak peek at our workshop. As you can see, it is nothing elaborate, really just throwing our tools on the hood of one of our crap boxes. But you know, when you work on one, the other one becomes your toolbox, and that's how it is.
And the intake didn't want to come off, so it's going to need a little persuasion.
That's hot. Whoa.
These Buicks have this steel valley pan gasket instead of the traditional gasket that you might be used to, so we'll take that off.
Well, it looks pretty clean inside, and supposedly it's got 66,000 original miles, and doesn't look too bad down in there, if you ask me.
And next thing to go is the valve covers.
So unlike under the intake, the valve covers aren't looking so great. So actually, it looks like they're rusting on the inside. These were just cheap Chinese chrome valve covers, so maybe it's a lesson learned there. All right, so I'll bring you over to my GM parts storage shed. So fortunately, I'm a bit of a pack rat, and we still have the original valve covers from a few years ago. So I think what we might do is either wire brush or sandblast these and paint them up and put these back on. Okay, ready? Yeah, it doesn't look as great under the valve cover. A little dirty up here. Can't quite tell if that's some coolant up there. Maybe we had an intake manifold leak. No one to blame on that one but myself, but it's all right. Pay the fine and move on.
Well, the sky isn't looking very good right now. It'd be a real problem if it started to rain. This is the problem when you're working out in your driveway. Now, the Buick rocker arm assemblies are all one piece, so we can take those off now. Then we'll take out the push rods. All right, so before we can pull the heads out, we're going to need to unbolt the exhaust manifolds from the exhaust. So let's see how that is.
All right, 2 exhaust flange bolts, 2 snapped. That's about what you expect when you're working on old exhaust.
Now we take out the head bolt and we should be able to lift the head right off the block.
How do we get it out? Dipstick too. There we are. Whew. All right, here we go.
These are stock cast iron heads with the cast iron exhaust manifold still on them, so I swear they feel like they weigh 500 pounds each.
All right, we're gonna let these exhaust manifold bolts soak in some PB Blaster while we run to the parts store. The one impact socket we're missing is 9/16, and the exhaust manifold bolts use that too. So might as well go give it a shot. And while we're at the parts store, I think we'll also be getting a bag of Speedy Dry, because as you can see, when we pulled the head, we got a little bit of antifreeze on the driveway, and that is not good. So we'll be back.
Well, we're going to need to take a ride down to the parts store now. We'll hop in the truck if anyone's interested. This is a 2008 Chevy Avalanche, which has been my daily driver for a few years now. We do have a few projects lined up there, so stick around. You may see something in the not too distant future.
All right, so believe it or not, everything actually came off with the exception of the one bolt that we snapped while the head was in the car. Once we got it off onto the ground with a little PB Blaster and then some elbow grease, every single bolt came out, so that's good news. I think we can clean this up and try to get back to work. All right, now we'll see if we can get this one broken bolt out with vice grips. If that works, we're in business. I thought I'd be down there drilling this out, trying to extract it with an easy out or something like that. But I'm gonna cross my fingers, hope for the best. All right, so vice grips were a fail, so I think we're gonna have to take this down into the basement, see if we can make any progress down there. Maybe heat it up, and I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
All right, we're going to use the propane torch to get a little heat into it, see how that works.
Oh yeah. And there it is.
So now we'll basically do the same thing on the passenger side. Hope it goes as well.
Normally it wouldn't be so tight. right, that was not easy, but we finally got it. A lot of PB Blaster over and over again, heating, cooling. Also did that trick that you read about on the internet with a birthday candle. So we did that. Finally, the sucker came out. So good news.
Yeah, I think that'll do it for today, so we'll get back at it tomorrow.
All right, we're back out here in the morning on day 2, trying to get that passenger head off. 1 sticky bolt remaining. Went out to Harbor Freight last night, gotten the impact socket that we're missing. Gonna do a little more heating with the torch, and hopefully we'll be able to get this guy off. You can just...
Now we've got the right impact sockets, it should be a little easier. And just like the other side, the only ones that broke are the ones we broke with the heads in the car. And the little torch worked so well last time, let's try it again. And also some light hammer tapping to help loosen things up.
All right, that was not fun, but it could have been a lot worse. So 2 heads removed, only 2 exhaust manifold bolts that broke off. We were able to get them both out downstairs on the workbench in the basement. So I would say we got off pretty easy.
All right, that about wraps it up for today. Overall, I think it was pretty productive, but the project continues. We hope you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for part 2 coming soon, and we'll see you then. In part 2, we'll start to put this thing back together, and hopefully, when we're done, it'll actually run and drive. I'd like to thank my 12-year-old cameraman and video editor. We're both learning on the fly, but I think we did a pretty good job. If you guys have any questions or there's anything else you want to see, drop it in the comments, and we'll get back to you. And finally, if you enjoyed this video, please consider giving us a like and subscribe. We'd really appreciate it.